Thank you. Thank you very much. Somebody chatted, we should have been recording that. I am grateful there will be no record of it. Never happened. But we are glad that you are here. This is a big day because it was our Beatles sing-along. Kyoko was good enough to send us things. We're glad you're here to worship with us. It's also a big day because we're celebrating 20 years of Linda being pastor at this church. She didn't know that this was happening. So it's all the more fitting that she had a veterinary emergency this morning and ended up not being with us at the start of church. Linda, I can't even tell if you're logged in right now, but we're glad that this is recording. You'll get to see anything that you missed later. There are a handful of surprises, not just Bernie sitting on the steps during children's time with you. But everyone, we are glad that you are here to join in worship and in celebration with us. And Linda, congratulations on 20 years. It's a big thing.
Good morning. Hopefully some of you on gallery view saw Linda waving from the car. She is with us. I'm Priscilla Tennant. I'm one of the associate pastors here. The pronouns that I use are she and her. You are welcomed in this space. We're so glad you're with us. Our church, Chestnut Hill United, is located on unceded territory of the Lenni Lenape people. The land that we stand on belongs to those who lived here before colonization. And so we acknowledge that as a sign of respect and as a symbol of what a better future might look like. So we ask you just to take a moment, take a breath, get comfortable, get rooted wherever you are. And we are so glad that you're here for this worship service and to celebrate our senior pastor, Linda. The first surprise that we have in honor of Linda is our prelude. It is Beethoven's Romance in F major, and it's going to be played by our very own Nathan Sidasian on violin. Nathan, I hope you can see all the love you're getting. And I know that right now, Linda is so grateful and thinking about how you're one of her favorite people. So thank you for sharing your gifts with us. At this time, we will join together in singing our opening song. Kipp will lead us in Come Drink Deep.
Unless Linda's back home and ready to sing, but I'm assuming that she's still on the road, and I will lead us in singing this. Come drink deep of living waters, without cup and close to the ground. Wade with bare feet into troubled waters, where love of life abounds. I turn my head to sky rains falling, wash the wounds of numbness from my soul. Turn my heart in tides of fierce renewal, where love and rage run whole. Come rains of heaven on the dry seed, rains of love on every tortured land. Roots complacent awaken in compassion, so hope springs in our hands.
Thank you, Kipp. At this time, our opening sentences will be led by Sarah Noonan Ngwane and Ruby Johnson.
But we need to invite them to unmute themselves because
All right. Holy One, we call you by many names and invite you into our lives. Water that refreshes, pour over us. Bathe us in your love.
Water, river, spirit, grace, sweep over me, sweep over me. Recarve the depths your fingers traced in sculpting me.
River of life, run through us. Course through our veins and questions and struggles with your persistent, unending power.
Water, river, spirit, grace, sweep over me, sweep over me. Recarve the depths your fingers traced in sculpting me.
Spirit of all that has breath, blow through us in this place. Stir us, inspire us, fill us.
Water, river, spirit, grace. Sweep over me, sweep over me. Recarve the depths your fingers traced in sculpting me.
Grace that surprises, dance among us. Send us your healing, your gentleness, your holy mischief, and your invitation to openness.
Water, river, spirit, grace. Sweep over me, sweep over me. Recarve the depths your fingers traced in sculpting me.
Amen.
Amen.
Ruby and Sarah, thank you so much. Now we'll share our announcements. We want to thank our worship team. Nick, it's a big tech job, and we are so appreciative of your gifts and your expertise. Shannon and Terry are serving as our greeters, and we're so grateful that they're able to pay attention to hospitality and security for us. Today marks the first Sunday of our One Great Hour of Sharing offering. It's one of the 3 denominational special offerings we collect each year. So please be aware of that, and you can contribute to that effort either by writing that on your check or indicating it online. This Wednesday is Ash Wednesday already. Please join us for a service at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, and we'll send out the link and reminder about that later in the week. Next Sunday, we'll have a special guest during our time with children. The author Ron Chelsvig will read his book, A Cup of Tea with Sadness. So we're asking adults to bring and invite kids to church. And kids, we're excited for you to show up with your curiosity and to be able to hear and speak with an author. If you would like pastoral support at any time, please contact us. Let us know. We want to know what's going on with you and where we can accompany you. We have a special email set up for prayer requests that we will do on an ongoing basis in a confidential manner. And then we have some community groups that are starting again after a sacred pause that we want to remind you about. Pandemic parenting will start up again on Monday, February 22nd at 8:15. Our Amen and Amen BIPOC group is meeting on the first Tuesday of the month, March 2nd at 7:30. People with elder parents who would like some support and community, they will be meeting on Wednesday, March 3rd at 7:30. Our sci-fi book club is reading Daniel H. Wilson's Robocalypse. It's not easy to say. And they're going to discuss that book on Tuesday, March 9th at 6:30. Our grief writing group is on Tuesday, March 16th at 7. And we just want to remind you of the format of that group, which is that you hear beautiful writings and get wonderful prompts, and you don't actually have to share with anyone. So please come out and join us, knowing that you will not have to share if that's not comfortable for you. Rainbow Connection, our LGBTQ plus group, is going to be meeting on Thursday, March 18th at 8. If you've been before, please come back. And if you've never joined, please join us. Care Mesner is offering workshops through the Naramata Center, and we've paid for a group all access pass. So there's information there about how to secure those workshops, either the ones by Care or any of the Naramata offerings. At this time, we're going to re-enable chat and allow you to unmute yourself and change your name if you'd like. And if you're having any issues, just reach out to Kipp or myself. And I see that Joy maybe has an additional announcement. So Joy, let's get you unmuted.
Thanks, Priscilla. Just wanted to let folks know, anyone interested in our Environmental Justice Center is welcome to attend a meeting on February 28th, which is right after church, 2 weeks from today. We're going to be talking about a lot of meaty issues, including doing some visioning for the next 3 to 5 years and what we would like the Environmental Justice Center to become. So all are welcome. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Priscilla. Thank you, Joy. Again, I often forget to do this until we're into the worship service. My name is Kipp. I'm associate pastor here. I use he, him pronouns. And I am so glad to be here with you this morning. And I wonder if there are kids here this morning who I think what we found out before is that it works really well if you can raise your digital hands. So that'll put you up to the top of the screen so we can see you all at the same time. And I would love to see what kids are here. And I want to start with just a question that will ask you if there was anything that happened this week that you would like to tell us about. And I see Adrian there and Elena with your hands up. Is there anything you'd like to tell us about? And I see Emma's hand up too. We'll start with Adrian and Elena and Nevaeh and Josiah. Josiah, is there anything that you all want to tell us about?
Earlier today we got a PS4.
That's pretty exciting. I'll bet you can hardly wait to play it. Cool.
And I graduated from therapy.
Hey, congratulations. That's big news. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, I graduated therapy on Tuesday.
Hi.
All right.
Yep, we have 2 kids that worked really hard
Now your turn. What
to
did you
learn
wanna
all their
say?
big feelings. So I'm really
I
proud of
got
them, right?
Max D.
You got Max
Thank
D.
you. Thank you so much for telling us all about this. And I see now Amanda, your hand can be raised too if you want. But I know you're a child at heart as well. But Emma, what would you like to tell us about?
So I was so my friends and I are trying to make like these orange popsicles, and we don't really have any good popsicle molds. But I got like popsicle molds now, and I also got which are pretty much my favorite chocolates, Lindor chocolates for
Mm,
Valentine's and Reese's Pieces.
those are delicious. I'm so excited for you that you got those. Toby, I see your hand up. It's so good to see you. And you, or do we have Maya?
We have Mia here, but we're
Yeah.
just saying hi. She doesn't have any updates or anything.
Okay, I'm sorry. Your screen is tiny at the top of my screen. I got mixed up about who's there in it.
It's okay.
But good morning. We're so
Good
good to see you, Mia. And Emerson is here.
Look, you can unmute yourself. Can you say hi?
No.
Okay, you know what? That is an excellent thing to share too. Sometimes we're just not in the mood to share, and that's okay. So we're glad that you're here, and we hope that your morning gets a little bit easier. And I see somebody in the Jamrose household. I bet we've got grandchildren here. Good morning. We are glad that you're here. Oops, you're muted and we can't hear you, but oh, there we go.
Hi, this is our grandson, Adrian. Do you want to tell him anything this morning? Yeah, okay.
I got rockets. Rockets. They have lights. They have a button on the rubber part that pushes through the air, and that button turns a light on so you can see them when you blast them at night.
Oh, that is super exciting. Thank you so much for being here and telling us about that. And now you all, I think you might have heard already, and some of you had a chance to know before that this is a special day.
Kipp, I'm sorry.
Am I missing someone?
Juniper is waiting patiently.
Thank you so much, Juniper.
Okay.
I don't see Juniper, so can someone help unmute them?
Okay, you can talk now.
We went golfing on Saturday.
That is so cool. I'm glad that you got to go. Thank you for telling us about that. So I'm saying we've got, today is an exciting day because I know this is a big number that you kids, you kids is a hard number to even understand. 20 years long. 20 is a big number. And you know that Linda has been here as a pastor at this church for 20 years. And when something big like that happens, it's nice to do something that will make somebody feel pretty good about themselves. So you all had a chance to help Linda feel good about herself, and she didn't even know this was coming. But before I say that, I see. Okay, no, nobody else is waiting to speak. So I'm going to put something up on the share screen that some of you kids did an amazing job helping to put together, and we're going to watch this now. And thank you for doing something that is so cool. If I can figure out how to make the screen big, I will. Oh, Zoom. Here we go. Full screen.
Create, so we will create something?
Yeah, and we can paint the song
Yes.
with all these different colors.
Yes.
So beautiful.
We could do it right now.
We will share in these times. We will share in these times. And what gold will keep on shining. We will share in these times. We'll laugh in these times. We'll hug in these times. We will play in these times. We will play in these times. And like gold will keep on shining. We will play in these times. We will sass in these times. We will sass in these times.
And like gold will keep on shining. We will sass in these times.
Keep on shining.
We'll paint a song in these times.
Thank you to all of the kids who contributed to that. And you can see Linda's been with a lot of kids up on the stairs before. Some of them are grown up now, and some of you are still kids and still get to hang out with Linda on the stairs when someday, I promise, we'll get back to the stairs. We're so glad. So thank you all for that. And special thanks to Ben Coweir, who put that together and also contributed the ukulele in the second half of this. I'm gonna take just a minute to check in with someone. We've got another musical surprise that is happening today, and I asked her initially to play after my sermon, but Solomia Ivakiv is with us today. If you have not heard Solomia play before, it's quite stunning, and you'll be in for a treat. My plan was to have her play after my sermon. She's not able to be with us the whole sermon. So Solomia, I just want to check with you. I haven't started my sermon yet, and I don't want to take up your whole morning. Would you like?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the invitation to join in. No, please go ahead, Kipp. I'm happy to wait and then play for you guys after the sermon. So thank you for checking.
Thank you. I'm so glad you're here. So I guess now I will turn to the sermon. We've got two readings this morning. The first that I will offer you is from a book. This is one of my favorite books from the last couple of years, called The Book of Delights by one of my favorite poets, Ross Gay. But this is an exercise, a year-long exercise he did of writing down things that delighted him. And they take surprising turns sometimes. I've read some of them in church before. This one is number 65. It's called Found Things. Among the qualities of delight I'm finding in my dalliance with it, is the feeling of discovery. The sense that one has found something, been shown something, perhaps materially, perhaps spiritually or psychically, that was previously unknown. Perhaps delight is like a great cosmic finger pointing at something. That's not it. Perhaps delight is like after the great cosmic finger has pointed at something, and that something, which in all likelihood was already there, which is why I've enlisted a cosmic finger rather than a human one, appears. Aha, or whoa. Yes. For instance, when a couple days back, I saw a husky middle-aged man pulling his roller bag down the block with wheels that sparked, which are in the same aesthetic ballpark as the children's sneakers that do the same, I thought, whoa, yes, much the way I do when I see the kids with firefly feet, or when I learned from Thomas Luck's poem that pigs cannot look up. Aha, or when I see birds swooping through the Detroit airport, which I happen to fly through sort of regularly because I don't see them every time and forget that I see them sometimes, I always, not almost always, always lose myself with glee. My finger, also a kind of bird, flying from my side to point at the little tuft that just skidded onto the trash can. Whoa, yes, I also notice myself looking around, searching among the commuters for fellow compatriots of glee. I wonder if this impulse to share, the urge to elbow your neighbor who maybe was not even your neighbor until the bird flew between you up into the pipes and rafters you did not notice until you followed the bird there, is also among the qualities of delight. And further, I wonder if this impulse suggests, and this is just a hypothesis, though I suspect there is enough evidence to make it a theorem, that our delight grows as we share it. And this is the Bible reading for the morning. This is the story of the Transfiguration from Mark. And it goes like this, it's Mark chapter 9. 6 days later, Jesus took Peter, James, and John with him and led them up a high mountain by themselves. There his appearance transformed before their eyes, and his clothes became a more dazzling white than anyone on earth could bleach them. And Elijah appeared to them in company with Moses, and they were talking with Jesus. Rabbi, said Peter, interrupting, it is good to be here. Let's make 3 tents, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. For he did not know what to say because they were afraid. And then a cloud came down and overshadowed them. And from the cloud there came a voice, this is my beloved child, listen to him. And suddenly on looking around, they saw that there was now no one with them but Jesus alone. As they were going down the mountain, Jesus told them not to relate what they had seen to anyone until after the child of humanity had risen from the dead. There's something appealingly amusing about celebrating Linda's 20th anniversary here on the day that the church calendar turns toward the story of the Transfiguration. It's true that Linda does favor a white robe when we worship together in person. And I'm pretty sure she was just glowing during the video of the kids singing her song. And if you didn't know that song that they were singing, Linda wrote that song. It's definitely better than pairing all this with Good Friday. So I'm sure that there would be a rich vein of church nerd comedy golds to get into from putting Linda in the middle of the Bible story. But the aim today was to have a worship service that includes celebration and thanksgiving, but doesn't necessarily make her want to die and be resurrected. And I've worked with you long enough, Linda, to know that, what's the best way to say this? Most of you already know that Linda is an avid photographer. She's gifted at it, and she has developed that gift out of a love for the art form and all it can add to the world, to worship, to social movements. But I'm convinced that she has also developed her gift in part because it's a way to make sure that she's behind the lens instead of in front of it. So I'm not going to do a whole sermon that is a corny and probably highly inappropriate retelling of the transfiguration that casts Linda in the role of Jesus. But I will say that it's fantastic that her time off last week pushed this celebration back to this week, because even though her first Sunday on pastoral staff here was the first Sunday of February in 2001, the first Sunday of February in 2001 was Transfiguration Sunday. It's funny how that all works out. Linda arrived here to become a co-pastor of a church that was about a decade into its own transfiguration. Not the flash and dazzle on a mountaintop variety, but the sort that unfolds slowly and deliberately and is the product of discernment and intention and risk. The sort that comes about when a small remnant of old timers and young families decides, you know, we're not ready to shut down, so maybe it's time to try something new. And in her first decade here, the congregation took formal decisions to become a reconciling and open and affirming church, celebrating and including people of all sexual and gender identities. It took formal decision to adopt a stance of anti-racism and to dually federate with the United Church of Christ, so that we could maintain our historic United Methodist identity, but also belong to a denomination that more fully reflects our values. That's a lot of transfiguration in a decade. Here's a story about my own arrival here as a worshiper several years before I joined the pastoral staff. I know a number of you have heard this already because it's a staple of my repertoire at new member dinners, and I've told it in at least a couple of committee meetings. What, you thought we'd come up with new stories every time? I'm a preacher, we milk them for all they're worth. But even if you know this one, I'm going to add a new piece. I came here after leaving my first pastorate at a little congregation in Cheltenham, not far from where we are. It was a generally good, but also a strange experience because I didn't really know what I was doing. They were doing things the way they'd always done them. I was figuring out how to be a progressive pastor in a congregation where many of the folks didn't quite know how to think about that. So when I left that church while I did my doctoral studies at Temple, the United Methodist Church still expected me to be active in a congregation. So I wanted to try someplace that would feel like a more natural fit for me. And that's how I ended up walking in the door of this little congregation, which is 3 miles up the street from what was then our new home. Now it's not so new to us. And walking in and finding a building where the pews were arranged in the round and there wasn't any way to hide in the back because there really isn't any back. This is the part of the story that a number of you have heard before. How after taking several weeks off from attending church once I left my congregation, my wife and I ventured into this one. Let's acknowledge before I tell this next part that it was July. So it was summertime in a stone building with no air conditioning, which means that it was an off month because of the heat, because people were traveling. Let's also acknowledge that this church's modern era has always featured sporadic attendance, coming in waves, meaning that it's hard for a lot of people to know whether someone new is actually new or if it's just the first time they've happened to see them. And that can feel a little tricky to navigate. I'm not calling anyone out. With those caveats in mind, let us return to that hot summertime sanctuary in July of 2007 and watch Kathy and Kipp come in, sit down, flip through their bulletins, realize that this little church uses 3 different books for their songs like they're Catholic or Episcopalian or something. Watch us sit there after having spent our entire young adulthood attending churches with aging congregations who would get very excited about the presence of a young couple, and where without exception, some warm, smiling, grandmotherly church lady would take my hand after worship and tell me what a lovely voice I had and what a treat it was to be sitting in front of me. And watch us participate through an entire church service where afterwards nobody said a word to us and nobody complimented my singing, and I am vain. I forgive most of you by now. This is the piece that I haven't told before. That first Sunday was a communion Sunday. For those of you who are pandemic new to us, or to those of you who've simply forgotten how it all works because the pandemic has lasted forever, communion in the sanctuary is a little different than it is in most congregations. I mean, having the pews in the round so that you have to look at other people is a shock to the system enough. Communion is a new level altogether because you have to get out of your seat and go stand in a circle with other people in the middle of the sanctuary. And that happens in 3 or 4 groups. So by the time I was ready to go, I already knew that I'd have to hold hands with strangers at the end. It worked in my favor that I'd grown up in church and had spent 4 years as a pastor. So the part of me that is used to being seen in church could walk down the street, could talk down the strong introvert in me who was a little panicky. I got up and I stood in the circle. The plate of bread started around. The person next to me held it out for me and said, "This is the bread of life." And I held my hunk of bread and watched this UCC co-pastor work her way around the circle, stopping in front of each person, holding the cup up to them and inviting them to dip their bread into it as she said, "For you, this is the cup of life." And then she was in front of me. She looked me in the eyes with her warm, gentle, inviting smile and the little cock of her head that says, "I'm listening and truly interested in you." And she said, "What is your name?" So I said, "Kipp." And she said, "Kipp?" Because my voice is quiet and I'm sure she wanted to make sure that I hadn't said Kim or Tip or some such thing. And then she held the cup toward me and she held my gaze. And she said, "Kipp, for you, this is the cup of life." I don't remember what the sermon was about that day, but I remember that I was seen. That was more than 13 years ago. I guess I decided to come back a second time. And here I am on the pastoral staff for more than 6 years already. And here we all are, wherever we all are, on the 20th Transfiguration Sunday after Linda's first Transfiguration Sunday in Chestnut Hill. And we're still undergoing the work of transfiguration because that's what the life of faith always asks of us. And because there are always changes we need to work on and always new ways of being we need to live into. And because we're in a pandemic that has kept us out of the building, but also allowed us to be church with people all over the country and on multiple continents. So I'm not telling a corny and weird version of the Transfiguration story with Linda in the place of Jesus, but I will say that I counted among the great privileges of my life to be in community with her and to serve on a pastoral staff with her and to listen to her. Because Linda Noonan, you are God's beloved child and you pour yourself out, helping us to see what that means and helping us to know that we too are each God's beloved child, and to live like that might just actually be true and that it might just actually mean something. And this is God's good news. Amen.
I'm not sure what a Zoom version of a standing ovation looks like, because I think we look the same if we're standing or sitting, but we're so grateful, Solomia, that you shared your gifts with us. And Kipp, we're so grateful for this gift that you shared with us as well. Worship through our giving. We'll put on the screen the different ways that you can give, always reminding you that offering can be more than monetary gifts. And we also need monetary gifts to keep our ministries going. But we invite your prayers, your presence, your gift, and your service. You can give online through onrealm.org through our website. You can also give via text, or our mailing address is also on the screen. And we remind you about our one great hour of sharing that goes to our denominations. And for our spotlight on generosity, we present Linda again, and the surprises are not over, Linda. But we just want to lift up what generosity it takes to be in community and service with us and for us for 20 years. We're so grateful for you. And in order to celebrate that further, we're going to listen to an original composition called 20 Years by John Guest. Thank you to John Guest. We're so grateful for you. At this time, if Linda feels able, She will lead us in our closing song, and if not, she can pass the baton to Kipp.
Well, I've been passing the baton to Kipp an awful lot lately, also. I'll try to do my best. It's fascinating that we're singing Guide My Feet. And John, I don't know how to express my gratitude for that song, but as I was hearing it, what I felt in my body was just that movement of just one step after another, that repeating motif that it's just, and that's how 20 years goes, right? It's 20 years of one step after another. So thank you for that. Thank you for all these celebrations this morning, Kipp, for your words and this community. And so we ask God's presence with us, and we ask God to guide our feet as we each, in our own ways, in each the parts of our lives, continue to just take one step after another and ask for guidance in that journey. Guide my feet while I run this race. Guide my feet while I run this race. Guide my feet while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain. Hold my hand while I run this race. Hold my hand while I run this race. Hold my hand while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain. I'm your child while I run this race. I'm your child while I run this race. I'm your child while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain. Stand by me while I run this race. Stand by me while I run this race. Stand by me while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain.
I'm going to send us away with a blessing and a benediction, and then Kipp is going to give us a few instructions after that. But my prayer is that you all leave this place full of gratitude for whatever you are grateful for. And I'm so happy that in that gratitude, we have Linda to be grateful for, who pours herself out for us. We thank you for her ministry, for her discernment, for the risks she takes to try to make change in this world, and for the ways that she helps us to hear God say, "This is my beloved child." Go in peace.
And this last part, which we hope that you'll stay and enjoy this. And if you like, you can stay on and say hi to each other afterwards. But this last part, if we needed just one more thing that might possibly cause Linda to have some tears of joy, here are some of her favorite singers.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. When I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Oh Lord, show me the way. Oh sister, let's go down, let's go down, won't you come on down? Oh sister, let's go down, down to the river to pray. And I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Oh Lord, show me the way. Oh mother, let's go down, let's go down, won't you come on down? Oh mother, let's go down, down to the river to pray. Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. Take my hand and take my whole life too, for I can't help falling in love with you. When I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Oh Lord, show me the way. Oh sister, let's go down, won't you come on down? Oh sister, let's go down, down to the river to pray. When I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Oh Lord, show me the way. Oh mother, let's go down, come on down. Oh mother, let's go down, down to the river to pray. When I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Show me the way. Oh sister, let's go down, come on down. Oh sister, let's go down, down to the river to pray. When I went down to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Oh Lord, show me the way. But I can't help falling in love with you.
Amen and amen. And if you want to say hi to folks, you're welcome to do so. Thank you all for helping make this a day of worship and a day of wonderful surprise.
everybody's too emotional.